What is going on, YouTube? Welcome to Fireside Rangers. I'm your host, Eric Wilson. Today, joined by my co-host, Will Cohen. Today, we're here to talk about the Rangers, a couple players, specifically the Rangers that are representing their countries in the Four Nations Faceoff that's going on right now. We're 2 games in. The United States has clinched a spot in the championship game that's coming up in a couple days. So we're Rangers fans. We're from New York, so we're rooting for America here. So our team's winning. If you're watching from Canada, sorry about last night, guys. This is our sport now. But we're going to get right into this, talking about how our representatives have been playing so far from the Rangers. So we're going to get right on into that. But before we do, make sure you guys like, subscribe, ring that bell so you don't miss notification. Be sure to follow us on all of our social media platforms at Fireside Rangers, and leave your thoughts down in the comment section below on how your favorite players have been doing so far, who you're rooting for, and just your overall thoughts on the Four Nations Faceoff. Because I think the concept as a whole is awesome. This is like the coolest all-star break we've seen in a long, long time in any sport. And I hope that this becomes a tradition because it's awesome seeing the players actually try. But let's get right on into it. Will, we'll start. I guess we'll start by talking about last night's game, United States versus Canada. The Rangers players didn't really shine during it, but I do want to, take a minute to just talk about that game because that was one of the most amazing games I've witnessed just in general in a long, long time. Obviously, the United States beat Canada. The Tkachuk brothers were awesome to watch. I never really thought on this channel we'd be sitting here talking about how much we love some of these players that are on our team. Obviously, those big fights in the first 9 seconds, JT Miller got involved. Thought it was really funny. Apparently, they had the Tkachuk brothers and Miller had a group chat before the game started. They all agreed, like, we're throwing hands as soon as this game starts. And it's funny looking back on it, watching it, like right at a puck drop, Miller just immediately drops his gloves and he's kind of just like looking around, looking for somebody to fight. He didn't really have an opponent chosen right away. So that was cool to see. I also want to point out Adam Fox. This is a negative that I'll bring up. Started the game on USA's first defensive pair, didn't really play well. Got demoted all the way down to the third pair, lost his power play time, and finished the game with the least amount of ice time of any defenseman on the U.S. Hope that's a wake-up call for Adam Fox, because obviously if Peter Laviolette were coaching this team, Fox wouldn't have seen any change, probably would have gotten more playing time. But John Tortorella doesn't mess around. Hopefully Fox is like, oh, so that's what it's like when I don't play well. Not that Fox has been bad for the Rangers by any means this season, but that's kind of the attitude that we need to see. Kreider has been scratched the first 2 games, and hopefully that's a wake-up call for him. Being like, oh, if I'm not the best on the team, I don't get to play, because Laviolette just keeps him in the lineup. But Kreider is probably going to play against Sweden tomorrow because Matthew Tkachuk is missing the game with a lower body injury. So Kreider's finally get to play. It's his time to shine. At least he'll get a little bit of ice time in this tournament. But honestly, for the championship game, I hope Matthew Tkachuk comes back and plays
as well.
And plays instead of Kreider. But I said a lot. I was kind of just word vomiting there. I have a lot of thoughts on this tournament that I want to get out there. But I'll let you give your thoughts. I guess this is the Team America segment that we'll talk about. So you can share your thoughts on them.
Honestly, I just want to give props to the entire tournament. I mean, both rivalry games yesterday were awesome. Sweden and Finland obviously went to OT. And now, every team has 2 points besides the United States. They have 6, obviously won their first 2 games in regulation. But the tournament has been really fun. It's been so awesome to see, NHLers representing their countries again. And obviously, it's kind of a look into next year at the Olympics. A couple more, obviously, a lot more teams will be playing. A lot more NHLers will be able to represent their teams. But having this as a sneak peek has been awesome. I was a little not scared to see how this was going to go down, but I am pleasantly surprised by how awesome it has been. I mean, Canada versus United States yesterday lived up to the hype and even more. I mean, the bar was set very high. They crushed it. The fights, 3 fights in the first 9 seconds. Matthew dropping the gloves with Hagel in the first 0.5 seconds. Like literally just dropped. He fights. Then another puck's dropped, and then Matt Brady fights who did he fight? He fought Bennett. Sorry. I couldn't think for a second. He fought Bennett, then Miller fights Pareko. It was just the tone was set from the beginning. It was awesome. Um, McDavid scored first. Obviously, the United States comes back. Connor Hellebuck has been a brick wall in net. Obviously, he's let in that first goal he gave up against Finland was soft, and after that, he's just been on fire recently. So it's been really cool being able to root for the United States and just with NHLers again for the first time in what 2016 was the last time NHLers represented their countries. Um, this tournament has been everything and more. I couldn't be more excited for Thursday. Tomorrow, obviously, a couple guys will probably get rest. Hellebuck will probably get rest. You'll probably see like Swayman and Ottinger in there, but it's this tournament has been so awesome, and I am looking forward to the Olympics and then in 2 years to the World Cup of Hockey again. So a lot of exciting things coming up with international hockey for the NHL.
Yeah, I mean, I'll add just on the tournament in general. I remember when they first announced that they were doing the Four Nations Faceoff. I was like,
Mhm.
good idea, like cool concept, but I wasn't fully behind it right away because my brain was still stuck on just like, oh, this is just like an all-star thing. Like it's going to be the same boring stuff that we see every year. But I guess I underestimated how dedicated these players are to representing their country. And like you said, it'd been cool if we could have had a couple more countries in here, like
Mhm.
Russia for sure. Maybe like Czechia as well.
Mhm.
See Phil play, even though he's not a Ranger anymore.
Mhm.
But no, it's super awesome. And props to the NHL for putting this together. I think it's the best all-star thing we've seen in all of sports in a while, just
Mhm.
like you said. Um, but I feel there was one more thing I had to say when you were talking about how awesome this tournament is, but now I can't remember. It might come back to me, but we are just gonna move along for now. We kind of did our Team USA glaze right there, as Americans, got to root for our country. But the Rangers do have a couple of other players representing their countries. Mika Zibanejad is on Team Sweden,
Mhm.
and Vakanainen is on Finland. And
Mhm.
I don't care if people hate me in the comments because I always bring it up. Kakko is on Team Finland. Kakko scored. You love to see it, even though he's not on the Rangers anymore. I love to see that kid succeed. So good for Kakko. That's all I'll say on it, just because I
Mhm.
don't want to make the viewers too bored talking about non-Rangers players that they don't like.
Mhm.
But I'll say Vakanainen has kind of just been invisible. I don't really have much to say. Not really playing a
Mhm.
lot. But Zibanejad, to me, it just kind of looked like Zibanejad. I was really hoping that this tournament would be a wake-up call for him. Playing with best on best, hopefully spark something to get him skating harder, playing faster and harder, more aggressive. But to me, I've kind of just been watching the same old Zibanejad. He scored a goal during Sweden's game yesterday. It was a pretty crazy shot. So good for him for getting on the scoreboard. But then, immediately after, his lack of defensive play leads to Finland tying the game. They look back to Sweden's first game against Canada. Zibanejad was missing. Again, another defensive play where Canada ended up scoring. So I don't like it. To me, the standout is nobody. Honestly, I feel like the Rangers players have kind of struggled through this tournament so far. Miller, no points yet. Fox, no points yet. Trocheck, no points. Zibanejad has the goal, but his lack of defensive play is just a little bit frightening. But I don't know. Hopefully, as the tournament continues, we see these players get going a little bit more. So that's just my take on Zibanejad and Vakanainen. And not sure if you have much to add. You lagging?
No, my mom called me. I apologize, and it turned my audio off. Um,
Mrs. Cohen ruining
but
the pod.
what was your question if you had one for me? Sorry.
Oh, yeah, no, I was just saying how overall I'm kind of just underwhelmed by the Rangers players'
Mhm.
performances. Like we don't have any standouts. We don't
Mhm.
have any Kachucks or Dylan Larkins other than just as a Zibanejad's goal. And I was saying how Zibanejad's defensive play is still subpar even in this tournament. So I'm a little underwhelmed, but I was going to
Mhm.
see, did you have anything to add about Mika or Vakanainen throughout this tournament?
I think Mika in the offensive zone has looked a little better than he has with the Rangers this year. I think he's shooting the puck a lot more
Yeah,
freely.
I was going to say
Um,
that he
mhm.
has been shooting it much more.
Yeah, he's been letting them rip, and I know he only has one goal, but he's been letting shots fly, which is really good to see. Obviously, this year, something that he has done a lot is he'll have a prime scoring chance and he'll pass it up. Yesterday, obviously, he had a prime scoring chance, just let it fire on net, scored. Obviously, his defensive play is still, you know, it's not where you want it to be for your number one center, but it's seeing him, shoot the puck freely out there and just firing pucks on net makes me feel good about, him coming back and maybe, turning it up a little bit. Fox, the first game, he looked a little slow. Looked slow yesterday, but I thought he played a much better game than he did against Finland. Um, this tournament is very physical. And I think,
Ah,
that's something he struggles with. Obviously, his
that
physicality. He is a smaller defenseman, but um it looks like his mobility's not really there, so I don't know. But
that
JT
just reminded
Miller,
me of what I was going to say. Don't let me forget.
JT Miller and has looked like JT Miller. Obviously, he's not scoring. He's still playing very hard, which is good to see. Vincent Trocheck, I mean, you don't really hear his name a lot, but
He's on the fourth line. I can't really
yeah, he's playing
don't
well.
ask too much for him.
He's playing well on the penalty kill as well, so they're not really asking him to be like what he is with the Rangers, which is totally fine. Same with JT Miller. I think he's on the third line, but he was getting some run with Brady Tkachuk and Eichel last night when Tkachuk went down, or when he kind of, signaled to Tortorella, he's like, I can't play right now. Um, but it's been a physical tournament. Vakanainen, I don't know why I just brought up physicality again, my bad. Vakanainen, he's playing, sheltered minutes, so it's not like he's, getting any like power play time, or anything like that. Doesn't get it with the Rangers anyway, but he's not really asked to do much either. So, um, it's been a little underwhelming, but also I think Zibanejad's really the only, well, I guess Zibanejad and Fox are really the only ones of the five, or yeah, of the five that are really asked to do a lot because he's centering their number one, their first line for Sweden. But um, yeah, like you said, a little underwhelming. Fox played well yesterday, but still has some work to do in these last two games. But um, I thought they looked all right. I'll say that.
They're all right. That's a great point. Is like we can't sit here and talk about all of the great things that these players have done because they're not in positions to be doing these great things. One, Kreider hasn't been playing. Two, Vakanainen is not getting a lot of ice time. Neither is Miller or Trocheck. So they have a pass. I'm giving them a pass on this tournament so far. Only person that does not get a pass is Zibanejad because he's the first line center and he's still not skating as hard as he should be. Before we wrap up, I'm going to circle back to what I was saying before, just in general about the tournament. When it first started, or when it was right about to start, and I started to get that feeling like, okay, players are taking this really seriously. My first thought was, well, this is not good because just watch JT Miller is going to break a leg or something during this tournament and then be out for a couple of weeks when the Rangers season gets back to it. And during that first game, when it was Canada versus Sweden, I think it was, when Shea Theodore all of a sudden is now
Hmm.
injured and out for a couple of weeks. Who knows what's going on with Matthew Tkachuk? So to me, I was like, oh, this is not good. Like, why are we doing this right now? This should be like a off-season type of tournament. But I take it back. Watching this tournament and getting to experience it for the first time as a fan is awesome, and I'm just gonna keep enjoying and keep loving it. And fingers crossed that no Rangers players get significantly injured in the next two games, because
I
that
agree with that.
that would not be good. If that happens, I'll probably change my mind and be like, yeah, this tournament sucks. But as of right now, it's awesome. And shout out the NHL. It's not often that we're like, Gary Bettman, you did something great, but he did this time. So good for him.
See, I knew it
But
was going to be special when Drew Doughty at the end of the Canada Sweden game, the first game, said it was the fastest game he's ever played at the NHL level. And then John Cooper said it was it felt like the fastest game he'd ever watched behind the bench, which was really cool to hear. It's just cool seeing, NHLers take pride in playing for their country again. Obviously, it's been the first time since 2016 they've been playing. So this tournament has been awesome, and I don't want it to end.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, they should just disband the NHL and then just keep doing this year long.
Just have international hockey year
Yeah,
round.
that'd be so cool. And get all the other countries in it.
That would be sick.
I honestly wouldn't complain because I feel like there's a higher chance of us witnessing more USA championships in our lifetime than Rangers Stanley Cup wins at this point.
Don't say that.
Dude, I don't know. I'm reaching a point where I'm like, am I going to get to witness one?
Well, I mean, I guess I've already seen 3 gold medals by the United States, so that's more Stanley Cups than I've seen, or 3 gold medals in like the World Juniors, and yeah, obviously not the Olympics.
Yeah, but I don't know. This tournament's awesome, and I hope that everyone watching feels the same way. And I hope that us talking about other NHL teams' players wasn't too weird for you guys to hear come out of our mouths, because normally I'd be like, I hate Matthew Tkachuk. He's dirty. He's a bad player. But right now, I love Matthew Tkachuk. He's great. He's playing for my team. I'm sure that's how like Maple Leafs fans have to feel about McDavid right now. Just like so this is what it feels like to root for him.
God, imagine Calgary fans right now. They hate the Oilers having to root for McDavid. Oh.
But that about wraps up today's episode of Fireside Rangers. I think once the tournament concludes, we should probably swing back around for part 2 because the tournament's like halfway over. The United States is already in the championship, so we're guaranteed to have 2 more games to talk about. So I think after the championship game, before the regular season kicks back up, we'll definitely do a part 2 to this episode, talking about how the players from the Rangers finished off the tournament. We're currently no longer a Rangers fan channel. We're a Team USA fan channel for the next couple of days. That's pretty much what's happened over on the Fireside Rangers Instagram. I've just been straight USA content. So if you guys want to see all that good stuff, be sure to check out our socials at Fireside Rangers. But if you guys did enjoy, please like, subscribe, ring that bell so you don't miss a notification, and be sure to leave your thoughts down in that comment section below on your thoughts on the tournament so far and which players have impressed you the most. Most importantly, have a good one. Let's go USA, and let's go Rangers.
Let's go Rangers.